So to begin with, we have the presence of the Honorable MP Rajya Sabha, Shri Sujit Kumar, who comes with extensive experience in governance, policy making and development work, particularly across some of the most undeserved regions of our state. So he brings a unique perspective as to how institutional system, innovation and sustainability can be aligned for impact. So it'll be a privilege to first request him to address this leadership session. Let's welcome him with a round of applause once again.
Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon. I must apologize to Dr. Suhar and Madam Namrata for failing to acknowledge during my opening remarks. I am failing to acknowledge you both. Friends, as I did briefly mention that we are at a unique position in our development trajectory. When I say we, I mean India. I see there are some friends from overseas. So India is at a unique place in its development trajectory, and we have a very audacious goal of becoming a Vikasit Bharat, meaning developed India, by 2047. And I did say that that is possible. It's certainly doable. It's certainly possible. We have to leverage technology, and of course, sustainability is one of the cherished goals, a cherished means to achieve that goal. And if you recall, the decade between 2014 to 2024 has been hailed as India's tech decade. Because of the kind of digital transformation, because of the kind of technological transformation that the country has witnessed over the last 10 years. So, we can safely say that the last 10 years, the last decade was India's decade. And I can go on and on, in name defense technology, name space reforms, the digital public infrastructure, DPI. I did mention about the UPI transactions, 20 billion transactions a month. In the last calendar year, that is 2024, we had 200 billion UPI, that is the the digital payment gateway, payment gateway transactions in the calendar year 2024. So it is safe to say that the last decade was India's decade. But I believe that the coming decade will be such decade, sustainability decade. So it's a new word that I've coined, where sustainability and technology, not only technology, but also sustainability. So sustainable technology will play a key role in meeting our ambitious goal of becoming a developed India. And again, I'd like to quote the Prime Minister, who had very famously said that environment and sustainable development have been my focus area for 20 years. He said this in the year 2021, and he assumed the office of the Chief Minister of Gujarat, of the state of Gujarat, in the year 2021, end of 2021. So he was making this statement in that context. Environment and sustainable development have been my focus area for 20 years. This is our Prime Minister. Actually, this is the philosophical foundation of this such decade. No global leader, and again I repeat, no global leader has understood technology or has been championing sustainability the way Prime Minister Modi has. And this is why I call him the technology renaissance man of the 21st century India. And again, one of his statement which always impresses me is when he said IT plus IT equal to IT. So Indian talent, IT, plus information technology, another IT, equal to India tomorrow. That is the slogan he gave us for nation building. That was his formula for nation building. And when he said technology empowers the less empowered, he reminded us that technology is not only about gadgets and devices. It's about real lives. It's about transformation happening in the grassroots. It's about lives being transformed and changed on a daily basis by leveraging technology in grassroots India, in rural India. and how his vision of Vikasit Bharat is possible only by bringing about innovation and by bringing technological inclusion to all Indians. And in the opening session also, I did mention that we are as a nation not doing quite well when it comes to innovation. That is largely because we spend very inadequately on research and development. And I also gave you some numbers. As a nation, our spend on R&D is only 0.7% of our GDP. Of course, we have a growing GDP now, it's almost $4 trillion. So 0.7% of that itself is a big number. But comparable numbers, US 2.5, South Korea 3.2, China 3.6, Israel 4.6. So these are numbers. You know, just imagine China is almost a $15-17 trillion economy, and if they spend 3.6% of that on R&D, no wonder they are doing much better than us when it comes to innovation. So I have spoken on the floor of the House, on the floor of the Parliament many a times, urging Government of India and different state governments to focus more on R&D, to focus more on innovation. And I take a lot of pride in stating that in the last budget, in the 2025-2026 budget, Honorable Finance Minister has announced a slew of programs and schemes for promoting innovation. And we now also have a national Anusandhan University, National Research University. Okay. So I'm optimistic that in the coming days, we will see a better improved ranking in the Global Innovation Index as far as India is concerned. Today we are ranked 38. 38 is definitely not a very flattering number for a country which has been for thousands of years known for its creativity and innovation. But I think we have better days ahead of us if we focus on innovation, if we focus on creativity, on critical thinking. Now, let me give you some examples that will demonstrate why leadership is so important when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to technology, and when it comes to building an inclusive India or an inclusive society through sustainable technology. First example that immediately comes to my mind is Swachh Bharat Mission. You might argue, or you might challenge me. How is Swachh Bharat Mission related to technology? In 2014, after Prime Minister Modi took office, from the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day, he gave the slogan of Swachh Bharat. Okay. The father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, spoke of Swachh Bharat, of cleanliness. In fact, he always urged Indians when we were fighting the British, that cleanliness is next to godliness. And he mobilized the masses against the colonial masters through these simple acts of keeping your surroundings clean, practicing non-violence in your daily lives, and so on and so forth. So when Prime Minister urged all Indians to adopt Clean India, to adopt Swachh India, Swachh is cleanliness in English, he was mocked also. But he understood that through this basic initiatives, he can create mass movement, people's movement, and this will ultimately lead to what he had envisioned as Vikasit Bharat, or a developed India. And today, we have 10 crore, that is 100 million. Over 100 million toilets. To my Westerner friends, when I speak this to my American or European friends, they don't get it, because it's taken for granted that every household will have a toilet or a washroom. But it wasn't the case in India. Open defecation was the norm. And just imagine, it was such a cultural shift. It was not just about building toilets. It was a huge cultural shift. It was a huge behavioral change in the mindset. And not only were these toilets built in such large numbers, leading to clean environment, sustainability, but also every toilet has been geotagged. There is an MIS dashboard that tracks, payments are released accordingly. So this is where technology comes in. So a classic example of how technology has been brought in change the lives of millions of citizens. Just imagine, the health benefits of having clean toilets at home instead of going out into the open. Just imagine the dignity of the women who had to defecate in the open in the absence of toilets at home. So when we talk of leadership, I think I can't think of a better example of motivating and empowering the citizens than Swachh Bharat Mission. The next one which comes to my mind is Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. And the reason I'm giving this example is because there's no better way of telling stories of leadership than giving real life examples that have impacted hundreds of millions of citizens. Okay, and as is known, India is a laboratory test case of developmental case studies. So if a model or a pilot works in India, one can reasonably expect that they will work anywhere in the world, because the challenges of global south are more or less the same. We have the largest population on earth, we have the largest number of people under the poverty line, we have the largest developmental challenges. So if we can work it out here, then I think it's safe to assume that we can work it out in Africa or Latin America or other developing nations. Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, which literally translates into one tree in the name of my mother, or maybe something like that. So this was not just a forestry program, not just an afforestation program where you go and plant a tree, because we have been planting tree for ages. What is the survival rate? That's a separate story. But every government function, every Indian program has some kind of tree plantation embedded into it. But the way Prime Minister got all Indians, or at least most of the Indians, to adopt this was a huge cultural and emotional shift. Because in Indian civilizational ethos, mother and mother nature, they are interlinked, intertwined. So we often call Ma Prakruti, so mother nature. And by invoking the name of one's mother, he could capture the imagination of Indians, and he could get the Indians to adopt this. You'll be surprised. I was in Chile in January of last year, 2024. No, sorry, this year. I'm sorry. January of 2025, I was in Chile, in Santiago. The mayor of Santiago, of course, is not Indian. It's a she. She is not Indian. The mayor of the city of Santiago in Chile, she was speaking about Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. So I was pleasantly thrilled actually to see how this initiative has actually become global, and what could be a better example of sustainability or of leadership, of achieving sustainability through one's leadership than one Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. 80 crore, that is 800 million. 800 million saplings have been planted in the last 1.5 years, because this initiative started on 5th of June, World Environment Day of 2024. So it has been slightly more than 1.5 years. 800 million saplings have been planted in this 1.5 years. In our state of Orissa, we planted 1.5 crore, that is 15 million saplings. Okay, on the birthday of our Honorable Prime Minister on 17th of September. Again, how leadership was successful in linking emotion with ecology. How behavioral shift was brought in by leadership, by good leadership, and this initiative has actually gone global. Not only has it been successful in India, but today it has gone global. I give you the example of the city of Santiago, where the mayor was speaking about this. Life mission, another great example of how climate action has been made a people's movement. Simple things. We forget to switch off the lights and fans when we go out of the room. We forget to fix the leaking taps. We don't stop using single use plastics. But for the Prime Minister of the country to observe such trivial things and make it a mass movement. He gave the call of doing COP26. He spoke of the life mission, lifestyle for environment. How simple changes in our lifestyles can bring about catalytic change in the environmental practices or environmental sustainable goals. So again, another great example of how using tradition, and we were not like this traditionally. If you go back to the history, you will see that Indians were traditionally in tune with nature. We have a long history of worshipping Mother Nature. Our trees, our forests, our rivers, they are sacred to us. It's there in our sacred books, starting from the Vedas to the Puranas to all the other texts. And somewhere over the years we lost that civilizational learning, okay, which was passed on to us from generations. And in the race to become a modern nation, in the race to become more civilized, more modern, we somehow neglected our nature. We somehow started neglecting sustainability. So another great example of leadership, again, Ujjwala scheme. I can go on and on. Ujjwala scheme is a scheme where women were given gas cylinders, and over 11 crore, that is 110 million Indian women, Indian households today have a gas cylinder. Prior to that, they were probably using charcoal or wood, or cow dung for their cooking, for their for the needs. But today, just imagine the impact on the health of the women, of the family, the impact on the environment, because these are smokeless chullas. These are gas cylinders which are smokeless. If you use wood or charcoal to burn your or to light your kitchen, then of course you are generating smoke. You are generating carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Imagine the improvement to their eyesight. Imagine the improvement to the lungs health. So the man who actually led this mission is from this very soil. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, who is now the Union Minister for Education, he was the Minister for Petroleum, and he led this initiative called Ujjwala scheme, where 110 Indian women, 110 million Indian households got a gas cylinder for free and some free refills. Okay. Of course, they had to pay for further refills, but that habit was inculcated. So, so you see that there is a pattern here. Leadership matters. Leadership matters because there have been governments, there have been prime ministers. Every prime minister has contributed in some way or the other in bringing about change. But someone was speaking about transformational change in the opening session. In development theory, we speak of two kinds of change. One is incremental change. You build a school there, you build a hospital there, you build a road here. Yes, those are necessary. Those are also, developmental work. But to bring about transformational, generational transformation that impacts the lives of hundreds of millions of citizens, that impacts the next generations, that is transformational change which true leadership can bring about. And I think these examples can testify that, it is the leadership. I'll give you an example from my own constituency. I come from a district called Kalahandi in western part of Odisha. And through CSR support, through my MP Lab fund, I have set up 2 drone labs in 2 government schools. So I have adopted 2 panchayats in Kalahandi and under the Adarsh Gram Panchayat Yojana. And there are 2 high schools in these 2 panchayats. And we have set up 2 drone labs. And incidentally, these are the first drone lab in any government school in India. Not just in Odisha, in India. Imagine girls studying in class 9th, in class 10th, learning to fly drones and to become drone pilots. Today, 99% of the drones that are being flown are being operated by unlicensed people. most of them don't have drone pilot license. So you need to take a course of 5 odd months and then get a license. You have to qualify an exam, a test rather, to get a drone license from DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation. Imagine, and these are both schools with 99% SC/ST population. So literally, this is almost 90% of them are tribal girls, 9 to 10% are SC girls, and less than 1% are of general category. So we are talking of 2 schools, and this is now open only to girls, because we wanted to give this opportunity first to the girls. And now the first batch is coming out very soon. They are going to earn between 10 to 12,000 rupees a month. Girls who are studying in class 9th and 10th. And these are all tribal girls. Okay. So from drone didis, Prime Minister speaks about drone didis. Tomorrow they will be employed by fertilizer companies, by logistics companies to operate drones. So from drone didis to Lakpati didis. Again, Prime Minister spoke of creating 30 million Lakpati didis. Didis, again, for those who may not understand, and we call an elder sister as a didi. So 30 million women becoming Lakpati, meaning earning at least 100,000 rupees a year through some skills. And we have taken up this drone skills. What could be a better example of using transformational technology, using modern technology to not only empower these women, these girls, but also help them earn livelihood and possibly to change the fate of their families forever. Because imagine if they start earning 12,000, 15,000 rupees a month, even 10,000 rupees or 8,000 rupees a month, if they start using technology, the kind of ripple effect that will have on the community where they come from. Okay, and 4 girls who are now learning drone are the first girls in their village to have ever studied. These are the first 4 girls, basic village called Turka in that panchayat. These girls were the first 4 girls in their entire village to have ever seen the doors of a school. We picked them, we got them admitted to the school, and now they are learning drone. Very soon they will become drone pilots. So how much more time do you have? Anyone timekeeper? I was allotted 15 minutes. How much more time? Any? Okay. So I will take maybe a few more minutes and then I spoke about I spoke about India's moment through data. I spoke about the demographic shift, the demographic dividend that we have. So I repeat it, I reiterate it because you have startups here, you have entrepreneurs here. And again, I stress upon the fact that probably there was never a better time to be an entrepreneur than it is now in India. All the factors are aligned in favor of startups and entrepreneurs. The demographic might, the digital strength, the focus on decarbonization. So if you are a startup looking for an opportunity, if you have an idea in the area of sustainability or technology, just go for it. We have a goal of becoming net zero by 2070. Okay, and with the kind of economic growth that we have, growing at 7%, by 2070 probably will be, I don't know, and 2070 is too far. It's stupid to speculate and predict that far. But at the rate we are growing, even if we grow at 6.5, 7% for the next 20-25 years, we'll be at least a $25 to $30 trillion economy by 2047. Okay, we are on the verge of becoming the 3rd largest economy. So by 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of our independence, today we are a $4 trillion economy, just do the maths, grow at 7% now as we are doing, or maybe 6 or maybe 6.5. I strongly believe that will not fall below 6%, maybe 1 quarter, but certainly on an annual basis, we'll keep growing at 6+%. Do the maths, by 2047, we'll be at least a $25 to $30 trillion economy. By 2070, maybe a $50 trillion economy. If you grow at that rate, then obviously you have, how much more? I was actually asking how much more time you have. Perfect. Done. So, not only we have a goal of reaching net zero, and only developing country in the world, I mean not taking China as a developing country, but only developing country in the world that has articulated a clear goal of becoming net zero, okay? And that too with such a massive energy need. As is obvious, when you grow, you have energy needs. Despite that, we have said that we'll become net zero by 2070. Not only that, we have articulated our goal of becoming, at least 50% green by 2030. So 50% of India's energy need will be met through green sources by 2030. That itself is 500 gigawatt of energy. So just imagine, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're looking for ideas, these are the numbers that you should be looking at. I gave the example of UPI. Broadband now, every government secondary school will have a broadband as per the budget. 50,000 Atal Tinkering Labs have been earmarked. The opportunity is endless. AI, I can't even tell you the kind of opportunities that's there in AI. If you want to become successful entrepreneur and in the process make some impact on society, then the government of India has a huge program called AI for Social Impact. Tap into it. You will not only make money for yourself, but also help solve some of our most pressing challenges. I'll stop at that because we have to wrap up in 25 minutes, and I would rather let ma'am speak. And I don't know what the format is, if there's a Q&A or but I'll stop with that. But I'll conclude by saying that technology is central to India's development. Sustainable technology is central to India's development. And you have a Prime Minister, you have a government which is going all out to support startups, entrepreneurs, ideas, innovations that will help solve some of India's pressing challenges through sustainable technology. Now it's up to you to seize the moment, it's up to you to seize the opportunity. And you have the leadership, you have the right policies, enabling policies. All it needs is to connect the dots and be the catalyst that we need today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very informative and insightful. Thank you so much, sir.